How'd they look today, Coach?
You know, I mean, there wasn't a lot of trying to urge them to do something today. They went out, came out, and responded, and we got to do that every day. Our issues now is sometimes we have a hard time putting it together back to back. I mean, it seemed like they were running around and doing things with our hands on balls, executing. I thought it was a lot better than the day before. I mean, yesterday was the first day of classes. Second day of classes is the first day back. You know, there's some issues that go on there. We're trying to get their schedule changed. But today it felt like they were a lot more grounded, a lot more focused.
Well, it looks like you're still doing some depth chart stuff, even with the ones.
Yeah, you know, we're going to make sure that we get guys that'll tackle, you know, as the bottom line. You know, so our last scrimmage, we had to evaluate guys that demonstrated courage, demonstrated run full speed to the ball. They might not necessarily be the ones that are right all the time, but at least they're demonstrating courage and running full speed to the ball, and we can go from there. We're not going to sit down there and say that's okay if you miss a tackle. That's okay if you don't run full speed this time. So there's consequences when you don't play up to what we're trying to get done and what we believe in and making a commitment to get done here.
So what are some of the changes?
Well, they're not permanent. You know, I think that's what the people have to realize. We've had Terrell Williams come in and move in at the start and will. He's a good young football player, doesn't quite know everything yet, but one thing he does is run full speed and he'll tackle you. He's a very productive player. We moved Jerry Franklin over to the mic, okay, and you know, Jerry's got to step it up, and again, things are still to come there. See who wants that position and who will buy it, and who won't let it go. We moved Jarrell Norton to the open safety, moved Matt back. You know, Matt knows that it's not a permanent deal. It's temporary until, you know, something else goes on, but he's very aware of the fact of why we did it, and it's not like him. You know, he's got to be more consistent. We took Riddell Prim and moved him to field corner and put Greg Gadsden back there in that second group. You know, again, we're going to put guys that will be physical and throw themselves around. I mean, Andrew Stewart moved up to the second boundary corner. The last scrimmage, Andrew Stewart wasn't afraid to throw himself around and put his face on people. So we're still trying to work on getting people that play to our personalities. And again, we don't like a lot of cookie dusters, not in any position.
So do you have Franklin or Wendell at the mic starting?
Jerry Franklin is our starting mic, is what I mentioned.
Coach, how troubling is it for you, you know, less than 10 days now that you're having to do the shuffling, that it's not set in stone for Missouri State?
We still have a long time. And again, those positions changes are, you know, they're temporary only until the people that were once the starters quit. They quit, then we move on. Or they come back and they fight back and retain the position. But we're going to establish depth, and we're going to establish courage, you know, and execution, running full speed to the ball. Football is about contact. You all know that. I'm not telling you anything that you don't know. But if you don't display courage every single down, okay, you sit down there and you try to avoid a block, try to avoid a tackle, okay, try to do whatever you can not to get yourself dirty and make a boo-boo on yourself. And let's go ahead and let's move on. Let's be physical. That's what this thing is all about. That's how we teach it. You guys have seen our drills. There's nothing queefy about the drills we do. Right? We're full speed, we're full tilt boogie, and we try to smack people, but all of a sudden when the lights come on, they find ways to sit down there and avoid things, okay, and duck out of the way. God dang it, it's defensive football. We're trying to make people say ouch.
So what's Terrell's learning curve been like in this campus?
It's new. You know, already once, you know, I mean, he's one of those guys that sat back there in the back of the room as a non-starter thinking, well, it's not too hard. This can't be that hard. It's a lot different when all of a sudden you're with that first group because the bullets are flying at you. It's not as easy as he was sitting there. It's kind of like those armchair guys that sit up there in the press box in the seats. It's not as easy when you get out there and the bullets are flying. And all of a sudden he's put into the fire, and so he's finally realizing that this is a tough job in there. You know, his learning curve is only as fast as he takes the position and understands it and studies right now. So I'm still hoping that we continue to move on at that position. You know, I still hope Matt comes back and competes. I'm still hoping we get that big, beautiful number one on the field too.
Are you surprised since I guess he moved positions from high school that he's caught on this fast?
Terrell?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you know, I think there's three kids that as youngsters, you know, you got Terrell, you got Krim, you got David Gordon, actually 4, Darius Winston. I'm very pleased with how they've learned. I think what they've got to understand is the work ethic that they've got to make sure they keep improving on. But I'm really impressed of the comments they make, their answers they give back. It's in an air-conditioned room, but they give it back instantaneously when I ask them about giving me a response, and it's always the right response.
How do you feel about the defensive line? I mean, you didn't mention many changes there. Are you happy with them?
That's like what we just learned about the learning curve. I had to hesitate a little bit on that. Yeah, I mean, Jake Beckett is as close to a professional football player as we've got in that group. He's quick, he's strong, he's playing. Okay, does everything right. You know, Zach Stather still, he's a rock of Gibraltar in there. He's stout and he does things right. You know, AD has really made a tremendous stride in there. You know, Malcolm Shepard, he's got to learn to play with a little more discipline and not break down the structure of the defense, but he's a going Jesse. You know, and then, you know, the development of D.D. Jones has been very impressive. You know, I think the other kids that step up are Ambrose is stepping up. I think Caleb Evans is stepping up, you know, as much as he's had to learn as well. You know, so I think there's a lot of growth going on there. It's still not quite where we want to be. You know, the thing about that group is obviously they have to defeat 325-pound blockers and then run to the football full speed and then try to show up to make a play. It's not like those little reindeer that are out there who don't have to defeat anybody and just run to the football. Those guys have to get off big blocks to get to that football. But they got to do it every time, and that's what we still continue to urge that.
What's your take on a Missouri State quarterback at number 13?
Oh, he's a tremendously competitive guy. I mean, here's a young man that's not real big, understands the offense, tremendously competitive young man. He's very accurate. If you watch his films, it's not that he makes bad decisions or he makes incorrect decisions. He's very accurate. It's the fact that their receivers are inconsistent in catching the ball, but those balls he throws are right on the numbers. And I mean, I think he's extremely competitive. I think he runs their offense extremely well. And there's going to be points in time on that field that ball is going to stay in his hands. So he wants to be that guy, you know, and he does a lot of nice things in create, and he does a nice job on the read zone. And, you know, they'll do a nice job with moving him around. He's not always going to be a drop-back passer. You know, they make sure they keep him protected with all those screens and moving those pass patterns, moving those, you know, the pocket for him. So they know what they got to deal with there. But he's an extremely competitive young man.
How did Krim do at field corner?
He's doing good. I mean, he's so conscientious that, you know, this afternoon I had to have a talk with him because he wants to beat himself up. You know, from where he was, where he is now, he makes great strides for us. And, you know, he's going to continue to do it. But I'd rather have a guy that's a little too self-conscientious than a guy that really don't care. So that we like that kid. Is that good?
Yep.
Thanks, fellas.